A man who doesn't understand a woman's weaknesses becomes a slave to her emotions, but a man who does becomes the master of his own fate. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That includes understanding the subtle, seductive traps of female nature, not to control her, but to control yourself. Today, we're diving deep into the top 10 female weaknesses every man needs to master, using the timeless lens of Stoic wisdom. Let's be real. We live in an age of confusion, emotional games, and blurred gender roles. Men are told to just be nice, to go with the flow, or to understand her feelings. But here's the brutal truth. If you don't understand a woman's psychological and emotional vulnerabilities, you will be used, manipulated, and emotionally destroyed. This video isn't about hate. It's not about control, it's about awareness. Because where most men react emotionally, the Stoic man observes, reflects, and responds with clarity. These 10 female weaknesses are the soft spots in her armor, not to exploit but to understand, so you can lead with strength, not submission. Let's begin. 1. Emotional impulsiveness. In the heat of a moment, when emotions surge like a tidal wave, many women instinctively respond from feeling, not reason. It's not a flaw. It's a function of emotional wiring, shaped by biology and reinforced by society. Ever witnessed a woman go from laughter to tears in seconds flat over a misunderstood comment, or seen her spiral into a storm over something seemingly small? That's emotional impulsiveness at play. And in those moments, many men make the fatal mistake of matching that emotional fire with their own. But Stoicism teaches us a different way. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The Stoic man doesn't flinch. He doesn't raise his voice to match hers or get pulled into her emotional whirlwind. Instead, he breathes, observes, stays grounded. Your power as a man is not in overpowering her energy, but in stabilizing, like a lighthouse in a raging storm. Your calm presence becomes the only thing she can cling to. So when she's emotional, don't be her echo. Be her anchor. That's where real masculine strength lives, not in reaction, but in restraint. Desire for validation. Women naturally seek validation. It's not vanity, it's evolution. For centuries, a woman's survival and status were tied to her ability to attract and keep attention, socially, emotionally, and biologically. In today's world, that instinct hasn't disappeared. It's simply moved online. One scroll through Instagram and you'll see it. Curated selfies, filtered smiles, likes that serve as digital dopamine hits. But here's the truth: when a man becomes just another source of that endless validation, he stops being the mystery, the challenge, the force she's drawn to, and becomes a fan, clapping from the sidelines of her emotional theater. Ask yourself, are you leading with grounded presence or approval-seeking praise? Are your compliments rooted in authenticity or desperation? A Stoic man understands the difference. He doesn't feed her craving like a vending machine of compliments. He values what he controls: his words, his energy, his attention. As Epictetus taught, don't value what isn't under your control. The moment you chase her validation, you hand her your power. Instead, embody presence. Be the rare man who sees her clearly, but isn't consumed by her. That's the man she truly respects and quietly craves. Social influence and herd mentality. In today's hyper-connected world, many women are constantly surrounded by an invisible chorus of voices. Social media feeds, group chats, celebrity culture, influencer trends, and societal expectations. Every scroll delivers a new opinion, a new standard, a new narrative about what to wear, how to feel, who to date, and what to want. It's not that women are inherently weak, far from it. But their emotional and psychological wiring often makes them more attuned to the opinions of their social environment. And that can become a vulnerability in decision-making. Ask yourself, how many women do you know who radically change their views, fashion, or even their values after a new friend group or TikTok trend enters their life? One month it's soft girl energy, the next it's boss babe era. This isn't a moral failing, it's a reflection of how deeply they crave belonging and affirmation. As a man, your role is not to join the emotional stampede, but to stand firm. Be the calm center in her storm. Be the one who doesn't flinch when everyone else is chasing shadows. As Seneca wisely said, "He who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd." You weren't born to blend in. You were built to rise above. 4. Romantic idealism. Fairy tales planted the seed. Rom-coms watered it. And society let it bloom into an expectation. An idealized version of love where the man plays the flawless hero, sweeping her off her feet with perfect timing, perfect words, and perfect emotions. Many women, often subconsciously, carry this craving for a cinematic romance, a story where passion never fades, conflict is minimal, and emotional highs are constant. But life isn't scripted. It's messy, unpredictable, and far from a curated Instagram highlight reel. So ask yourself, are you trying to play a role, or are you showing up as a real man? Because the Stoic man doesn't perform. He doesn't dance to the music of her fantasies. He lives grounded in reality and invites her into it. His love isn't grand gestures and unrealistic promises. It's presence, consistency, and truth. He knows that indulging her romantic idealism may win her temporary affection, but living in truth earns something far deeper: respect. Epictetus taught, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." If she thinks she knows what love should look like, show her what love actually feels like, rooted in peace, not fantasy. Fear of loneliness. One of the most profound and often unspoken female vulnerabilities is the fear of being alone, not just physically, but emotionally and socially. It's not merely the absence of another body in the room. It's the silence after the conversation ends, the empty space where connection used to live, the feeling of being forgotten in a world constantly moving. For many women, loneliness doesn't just sting, it terrifies. It whispers lies in the quiet. You're not enough, you'll be abandoned, no one's coming. This fear can push even strong women into self-destructive patterns, rushing into relationships with the wrong men, rekindling old flames that should have stayed dead, or holding on tightly to partners who offer pain more than peace. It manifests as neediness, anxiety, even emotional manipulation, anything to escape the void. But the Stoic man doesn't get pulled into this emotional storm. He doesn't judge it. He doesn't try to rescue her from it. He sees it with clarity and compassion, but refuses to lose himself in the process. He holds his boundaries like a lighthouse in the fog, steady, calm, and unmoved by the crashing waves. Because true strength isn't controlling others, it's mastering yourself in the presence of their chaos. Manipulative communication, guilt trips, silent treatment, passive aggression. These aren't just annoying behaviors, they're covert. Tactics some women use, often without fully realizing it, to bend reality to their will. Maybe it's the dramatic sigh when you don't answer a text fast enough, or the cold silence that lingers in the room like a storm cloud because you said something she didn't like. Sometimes it's the subtle twist of words that makes you feel like the villain, even when you've done nothing wrong. These tactics can be deeply confusing, leaving you second-guessing yourself, tiptoeing around emotions you don't fully understand. But the Stoic man, he doesn't take the bait. He doesn't spiral into emotional chaos or lash out defensively. He observes, he deciphers, he decodes. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it's endurable, then endure it. If not, then stop complaining." This is the art of self-mastery, remaining still when provoked, clear when manipulated, and composed when chaos demands a reaction. Instead of retaliating with anger or folding into guilt, the Stoic man addresses the behavior with calm, unwavering logic. Not to win an argument, but to maintain his own clarity and integrity. Because when you see through the noise, you control the conversation, not the other way around. 7. Emotional memory. Women tend to store emotional experiences with remarkable clarity, far more vividly and for far longer than most men realize. A single argument you forgot within a week might still echo in her mind months later, replayed. With stunning detail, the tone of your voice, the look in your eyes, even the exact words you used. It's like her emotions leave fingerprints on memory, and when pain is involved, those prints never quite fade. But this isn't vindictiveness. It's not a calculated form of punishment. It's simply how many women process emotional pain, deeply, thoroughly, and often cyclically. Her recall of past wounds isn't always an attempt to shame or guilt you. Sometimes it's her way of trying to make sense of the lingering ache. So what should you do? Fight it? Argue with logic? Deny her reality? No. A Stoic man doesn't resist her emotional memory. He respects it without being ruled by it. Your strength lies in consistency. Speak with calm clarity. Choose your words with precision. Act with integrity even in heated moments. Because, to her, the emotional footprint of your actions lasts far longer than you think. Will you leave behind scars or stability? Craving for drama. Not all women, but many are subconsciously addicted to emotional intensity. For some, peace feels boring, silence feels threatening, and emotional chaos, ironically, feels like love. When life becomes too still, too predictable, too calm, they stir the pot. A harmless comment is twisted. A minor inconvenience becomes a battleground. Why? Because drama triggers adrenaline, tension, and emotional highs. It's stimulation, and in a world that equates chaos with passion, stimulation is mistaken for affection. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself in a calm moment, only to suddenly be pulled into an argument that seemed to come out of nowhere? It's not always malice. It's emotional habit. Many women are raised on romanticized turbulence, TV, shows, toxic love stories, and chaotic relationships modeled as normal. But a Stoic man doesn't get dragged into the storm. He doesn't match her volume or energy. He remains composed, grounded, untouchable. He sees the emotional flare-up for what it is, a test of his inner peace. Don't feed her chaos. Offer calm. If she resents your peace, she's not ready for your presence. A man of reason walks away not to punish but to protect his soul. Remember, you are not her emotional playground. You are her sanctuary, or you are nothing. Hypergamy and status sensitivity. Attraction is often like a magnet, pulling toward upward energy, strength, power, ambition. The truth is, many women are subconsciously drawn to men who they perceive as stepping above their current station. This isn't a character flaw or some nefarious trait. It's simply human nature. Think about it. Have you ever watched a woman light up when a man walks into the room with an aura of success, confidence, and undeniable purpose? It's not by accident. Women, like all of us, are wired to seek stability, safety, and status. They are naturally drawn to those who represent an upgrade in their life. This desire is not a manipulation, it's biology. In fact, when we understand this, we stop viewing it as a weakness and start seeing it as an opportunity. If you want to be the man she desires, don't fight it. Rise above. Become the version of yourself that she can't help but look up to. Whether it's in your career, your health, or your mindset, when you invest in becoming the strongest version of yourself, you embody the very thing that attracts and holds attention. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would do, and then do what you have to do." This is your call to action. Your path to greatness begins with an unwavering commitment to your own standards, your own vision. It's about crafting a life that reflects who you truly are, not bending to the whims of others, but creating a reality that demands respect. Will you rise to the occasion, or will you remain complacent, waiting for others to change? The choice is yours. 10. Mood swings and hormonal influence. Let's be brutally honest. Emotions are powerful, but they don't always operate on logic. The truth is, biological cycles play a huge role in a woman's emotional fluctuations. It's not something she can control. It's written into her biology. And while it's easy to feel frustrated or helpless when she shifts from calm to intense in the blink of an eye, remember, this isn't a personal attack. It's a natural response, driven by hormones that ebb and flow with every cycle, affecting mood, energy, and perception. It's a rhythm she's often bound to, just as the moon is bound to the tides. But here's where the Stoic man rises above the storm. You don't need to fix it, nor should you let it consume you. Instead, you observe it, without judgment. You support, but from a place of strength, not submission. Picture this. A woman's frustration is like a gust of wind. It's powerful. It may shake you. But the Stoic man remains rooted, unyielding, his foundation solid. He doesn't get swept away by her emotional weather. When the storm passes, he is still standing, calm and unshaken. So, what do you do when you sense a shift in her mood? You don't take it personally. You don't let her emotional waves dictate your inner peace. You hold the line. You maintain your composure. You understand that this moment, like all others, will pass, and you don't have to be dragged along for the ride. You are the stillness in the storm, the strength that remains when everything else is in flux. Conclusion. Fellas, how many of these traits have you encountered in your own relationships? What did you do? Drop a comment below and share your story. Let's turn this into a brotherhood of awareness and strength. And if this resonated with you, hit that like button, share it with a friend who needs to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into Stoic power, attraction, and mastery. In the end, mastering female weakness is not about dominance. It's about discipline. It's about becoming the man who doesn't fall for games, doesn't bend to pressure, and doesn't lose himself in the chaos of modern relationships. Seneca said, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." That's the ultimate flex. So ask yourself, are you reacting to her, or are you rising above? Until next time, stay grounded, stay sharp, and stay Stoic 24.